Welcome to a special family edition of Food and Loathing. And when I say that, it does not mean that the show will be family friendly. I mean, unless your family is as foul-mouthed as mine, then it might be. This is a family edition because my wife, Sue, is co-hosting this week, sitting in for the vacationing Gemini Stevens. Sue, I've been asking you for 5 years. Welcome to the show. You finally agreed to do it.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I'm excited, but hey, to make sure that everybody knows it's not that family friendly. Fuck yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, there you go. And you just downed some cask strength Irish whiskey to give you a little liquid courage, right?
Yep. That always helps.
So we're good. So Sue has been my dinner companion at about 80% of the meals you hear me talk about on this show. She's been dining out with me since the 1980s. She knows more chefs, celebrity chefs, non-celebrity chefs, restaurant owners, cool people that are on TV shows than just about anybody I know, other than myself and a few other food writers in this town. And there's nobody in the world that I talk food with more than I do with Sue. She's never been on the show. She's always been super shy about it, thus the whiskey. But as she was listening to last week's episode, and we're on our way driving to brunch, I noticed that she's talking back to the recording in the car. And I'm like, why are you telling that to the car when you could be telling that to the people? So I asked her to come to the show. I had to talk her into it over brunch with Bryce at La Strega, but they make strong drinks. I bought her some caviar, and somehow I managed to convince her. So yes, Sue is co-hosting this week.
Here I am.
Yeah, filling in for Gemini, as she's actually home from Europe now, and she should be joining us within the next week or so. I think I've got emails from her. I think she'll be back next week, hopefully. I'm engineering. Rich Johnson is working his magic in the editing studios in Seattle, making it all sound yummy. We have great interviews in this show. I spent some time with Chef Kwame Oanwuachi shortly before Sue and I ate at his brand new restaurant, Maroon, at Sahara, Las Vegas. I'll play that interview for you after we talk about that meal, which was unreal.
Lots of good things to say about that meal for sure.
Yeah, you liked that, right?
Oh, I loved it.
Cool. Also, because Chef Kwame has dedicated much of his career to celebrating the many world cuisines that have descended from African cooking. So because of that, I thought I should take this opportunity, first black chef with his name on a restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip. And we're not going to dwell on that, but I think it does represent a pretty big milestone. And to celebrate that myself, as a whitey, but, I'd still like to celebrate good things, I spent some time with Gwen Walker, the founder of the Walker African American Museum and Research Center. I've chatted with her before. I've interviewed her for the Las Vegas Review Journal, and we always talk about the ways in which Black Las Vegans kept their own cultures alive in Las Vegas, particularly on the historic West Side. So, you know what? I've never had her on this podcast. I wanted to speak to her. She's a wonderful woman. I bumped into her at a podcasting seminar recently, and we got to talking again. So I'm super excited. Those are my two big interviews for this week. I'm also going to give you a short preview this week of my interview with professional skateboarder Neen Williams, recorded at NADC Burgers downtown. You didn't come to me with that.
No, what does it stand for?
Not a damn chance. Okay, now look, I get to walk over to Sue and move her microphone. We want it right there. There we go. That is better.
All right.
Okay. So, first, before we get to where we've been eating the last week, let's talk about where the fuck you're going to be eating this weekend or maybe next week. Are you doing anything really exciting? Some limited pop-up, a residency, a one-night-only wine dinner? There are so many fucking cool limited-time things happening here in Las Vegas that we have created a culinary event calendar over at foodandloathing.vegas. And Sue, would you run through a few of the upcoming things in the next week?
Sure. So this podcast will drop on Friday, the 22nd, and there's a lot of cool things going on that day.
Cool.
The first one, model and actress Ashley Graham will host a cocktail and wine tasting with Marina Mercer-Barini at Pisces in Wynn. That one happens at noon.
We love Marina, right?
We love Marina. Ashley Graham, I just looked up, is a Sports Illustrated model from 2016, and she put out her first book a year later.
Look at you doing the research.
That's who she is. I just had to know.
I love it. Okay. What else on Friday?
Italy has a tiramisu class on Friday today at 5 p.m.
Awesome.
I'm thinking that could be a lot of fun for our upcoming Italy trip, Al. Maybe we should check that out.
I can give a call over to Italy.
I bet you can.
I know some people's phone numbers out there. What else? Anything else on Friday? Tonight, the day that this drops?
Today, Le Cirque will host a Judgment of Paris 50th anniversary dinner. And again, tomorrow, the 23rd.
Did you look that one up?
I did not look that one. I know nothing about that one.
The Judgment of Paris was a fantastic event. I'm sure my wine friends like Bordeaux Bob will correct me about what I get wrong here, but it was a time.
Bob.
Hi, Bob. It was a time when I believe California wines were put up for the first time against the great old world wines. And I don't know, I guess they did fucking well because that's why they're celebrating it 50 years later. More importantly, the Cirque's getting ready to close. You and I have had so many great experiences there. We can't afford this one that's happening tonight, but we have to get back into the Cirque before they close.
Yeah, when are they closing?
I don't have that.
We have a little bit of time?
We got a little bit.
All right. This one's super exciting to me. The Diane Mina.
This is Saturday, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so we're moving on to Saturday.
May 23rd.
We'll host a Bloody Mary brunch party at her husband Michael Mina's Aria restaurant, Bardo Brasserie.
Diane is fucking
Al
awesome.
and I were there last year, and it was amazing. She was conducting sing-alongs and really working the room. No, it was so fun.
Diane Mina loves to party. She loves good food. She loves good drink as much as her husband, as much as you could expect from someone. She has her own Bloody Mary mix, which I've been supporting, even though I don't drink Bloody Marys. I don't really like tomato juice, but I have had sips of it since it was first introduced a long time ago. It's all over town, and she throws a fucking serious party. Michael kind of stays out of the way.
Let's do her thing, yeah.
Lets her do her thing as he should. At least last time that was the deal. But she's got the microphone. I think I ended up in the background of Ashley's video last month. I was trying to duck down, but everybody was singing along, having a good old time. So that's tomorrow. As this falls.
Yes, definitely tomorrow. You don't want to miss that one. I think we need to go to that too.
Okay, I'll make a call.
This Sunday, May 24th, is the final brunch with Bryce at La Strega. That one you definitely don't want to miss. Al and I experienced it this past weekend.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that later in the show.
I figured we'll get more into that later. Monday, wow, we're over the weekend already. Now we're in Monday. Chef's Table returns to Echo and Rig Henderson with a full prime rib dinner available for $55.
That is a great series, and he always brings the value.
Oh, man, that's a great price, too.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong there.
No, it's like a 3-course dinner. It's amazing.
All right. And then remember, we're in the final days for a few residencies, including Aviary at the Vault in Bellagio.
You and I have to get into that if there's any mocktails. I will pay huge money for mocktails if we can get into that.
Alenia at Michael Mina Bellagio, and Lily by Tyler Vorse at Social Durango Club.
Durango Social Club, but yeah. You said it backwards. Anyway, cool. Thank you so much. I love having you here. You're the best.
This is a lot of fun. I have to admit, yes.
It's a little love fest for now. Let's see if we can get into a fight over something. With that look forward, let's take a look back at where Sue and I have been eating over the last week or so. You okay doing these together?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so remember last Thursday night, I think it was, Latin Night at Viva by Ray Garcia. And we come in, we show up. We're late because, by the way, there's an EDC fucking
parade
nightmare of, I don't know, like every EDC person turned out on the Las Vegas Strip for a parade. But they didn't look as drugged up as I like my EDC people to be.
Still early when we were there. It was early.
But anyway, so that was the first one. We were a little late getting there. They were kind, no problem. They got us our table. We were out on the patio, which is where they do this Latin brunch. And Sue, you want to talk about like what the whole setup is like out there?
Yeah, no, the setup was it was great. It just was very loud because the parade had already started. There was a live band set to perform at Latin Night that we were a little worried about how loud and obnoxious it was going to be with, different music fighting each other, right?
Yeah, we were a little nervous, but I do trust the sound engineers at Resorts World.
They told us it was going to be fine when the band started. The band started, it was fine. We didn't hear anything else from the strip, so that was great. The dancing was great. The costumes, the people, like you said, beautiful people that were out there walking around, giving dancing lessons to the crowd, bringing up kids and just having a good old time.
Twirling and having those dresses fly up in the air. Those dresses of those women.
Thing.
I'm telling you, those the outfits both of those professional looking dancers were wearing were just perfect spin dresses, man. They flew around
and
beautifully.
then you have, the little chance of looking up their dress from time to time, right? That's what
Well,
guys like about those outfits.
I
no?
mean, there is a subconscious yes, there's a subconscious thing. Same reason we like women in summer dresses walking around on the first hot day of summer. We never really see anything, but you always hope for that breeze. Yeah, I'm an old pervert. I'm
Yep.
sorry. I'll say it.
Nope.
You're an old pervert too.
So you can talk more about the food, but I'm going to say this is one of the best salsas I think I've ever had. And I've been like Googling how to make better salsa ever since we had that.
Yeah, they
looking
said
for like more roasted, more deep, rich flavors. It was really fantastic.
one more thing about the dancing before we
Go
get
ahead.
into the food. They actually did dancing lessons too.
Yes.
So people who know how to dance, Latin dance, which I'm sorry if that's your culture, I don't know anything about it, so forgive me if I say anything wrong. But people who know how to do it, you can come, you can dress up, you look fabulous, you're going to have a great time. If you don't know shit about it or you're a little shy, you want to get it, they will do actual classes. Lessons. Like they bring you out, they show you a few moves.
Like they were doing there that night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it was kind of like a line dancing event.
Yeah, that part was a
Latin
little
music.
honky. Yeah.
I was just teaching you the steps. That's how you learn.
Right. So then they started bringing out the food. And as Sue said, we got great chips and salsa. It's a fire roasted salsa, so thick,
good.
so rich, so deep, really beautiful. Didn't pay for that, so that was excellent. I should say I didn't pay for any of this. They comped me, but wouldn't have had to pay for that. Thank you guys, by the way, for comping that one. We did steak tacos, 3 for $31. They were a little spicy, even for you, right?
Yeah, we didn't even finish all 3 of them.
But we
each
had a lot of
one.
food, though.
Yeah, we did, but they were definitely a little too spicy for even me. And that's me, not you.
Yeah, you're not a pussy. I'm a
I
pussy.
wasn't going to say that.
You can call me a
I'm
pussy.
not.
That's
I'm not
fine.
going to say that.
Shrimp enchiladas were really good with that green tomatilla salsa. The ceviche, I thought, was really good. It was more of a South American, maybe Peruvian kind of ceviche. It was made with where are we? Sorry, I had to swallow there. I didn't bring myself any water. With yellowtail, cucumber, and then coconut leche de tigre, which is like a coconut milk marinade that is just, you don't see it really in Mexican dishes, but you see it a lot more in South American.
Yeah.
We've had it at
that dish totally reminded me of the ceviches we used to get at Once when they were open in.
The Nikkei restaurant.
The Nikkei
the
restaurant.
Peruvian Japanese restaurant. Yeah.
Where was that?
That was in Palazzo.
Yes.
When it was open.
That's what that reminded me of. That was also very good.
You loved the rice and beans.
Oh, something about those beans. I don't know what they cooked them in, but it was amazing.
So great food, great thing. I'm hoping to do an interview with the folks at Viva for next week's podcast, so hopefully you'll have that. We went straight from there to
Let me just go interview Ray. I got it.
You want to go do the interview?
Yeah, I'll just do the interview.
It's not going to be with Ray. I can guarantee you that.
Okay, then never mind.
I don't know. Maybe I could say if I send Sue, they'll give him Ray Garcia. So Sue, Here Kitty Kitty Vice Den is their kind of thing that they're doing at Here Kitty Kitty. Here Kitty Kitty is the speakeasy at the food court at Resorts World. You want to explain what it was like going there?
Yeah, no, it's a cute little speakeasy hidden away, right? You have to know who to ask for, or know the right words to say or something, and then they open a bookcase and there's a little bar behind there.
Yeah, if you're walking through the food court, you might see this thing that looks like a little Korean grocer.
Right.
It's gotten smaller over the years. I think they need it for real stuff, not for fake stuff anymore.
Right.
But if you pass something that looks like a Korean grocer and you notice somebody at a hostess stand out front, and this is a good hint.
That's your first hint.
Yeah, good hint for anywhere in Vegas. If you're in front of a donut shop and there's a hostess stand, you're probably in Aria and they have a speakeasy. If you're in front of a Korean grocer and they have a hostess stand, you are definitely at Here Kitty Kitty. Ask to be let in.
And that ice cream spot downtown that has the bar in the back.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a hostess counter there.
There is.
Is
Somebody
there?
had to let us in?
Really? I thought we just asked the ice cream guy.
Oh, I thought somebody let us in, but okay. All
Okay.
right.
Enough of us arguing over speakeasies.
Let's talk about the cocktails there at Here Kitty Kitty.
Yeah, I had a
Cocktails.
mocktail, and
Oh,
it was really good.
yeah.
It was a ginger-heavy mocktail, and I talked to some bartenders that I knew there that I judged at competitions. They've
Yeah.
got a great team.
They have it. Yeah, I mean, great cocktail selection. I'm usually sticking to my basics. I like my old fashions, but they had a bourbon and blueberry cocktail.
I know. You went like
was
blueberry, lemon, and blueberry. That is not you. You're a bourbon drinker.
But the good thing was just wasn't that sweet. I mean, it was just fruit. The lemon is not it wasn't one of those sugary. That's why I don't like
No.
mixed cocktails.
It was
most of
whiskey
the time, 'cause
forward.
I don't like all the mixers.
And it was whiskey
Yeah,
forward.
it was
by
whiskey
far.
forward, but it was blueberries and lemon with it. That was great.
Yeah. Now, the place is tiny if you haven't been in there. It's very dark. It does remind me of one little place that Sue and I went in Tokyo one time. I have pictures of us in it, so I probably just remember the pictures because I was drunk off my ass all the time we were in Tokyo.
But be prepared because the cocktails are so good. They take a little time to come out. So
Yeah, they do
give them
take
a little
time.
time and be patient.
Yes.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah, so here, Kitty Kitty's great. Make sure you check that out. I'm going to skip over Friday for a second. Let's talk about Sunday at La Strega. Brunch with Bryce. This has been happening every Sunday. It is happening every Sunday of this month. It's wrapping up this coming Sunday, so you got one last chance to get into it if it's not sold out. It is Bryce Krausman, who was the founder of DW Bistro. He was the front of the house guy. He always welcomed you to DW Bistro. So he and Gina Marinelli of the Strega did the brunch. First thing I saw when I got there, caviar service. I never buy caviar service. I usually only eat free caviar.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on when you ordered the caviar that day. I was a little caught off guard.
I was trying to convince you to do this
Apparently.
fucking show, right? So I ordered up some Petrosian caviars with tater tots and lime aioli and red onions. They came out of the mother of pearl spoon, the whole deal. It was only $100.
I had some poinsettias with that.
Yeah, you drank some poinsettias. I should say this, by the way, too. I'm telling you it was only $100. That is why I ordered it. Gina ended up comping us again, right?
I know.
And I felt bad about that because I don't order caviar when that's going to happen. So I left a much larger tip than
Thank
usual.
you, Gina.
Thank you. Other things we had.
And
Carbonara.
Bryce. Sorry, Bryce.
And Bryce. Yeah, thank you, Bryce. Yeah, Bryce, by the way, man. Bryce at that thing.
Oh, his EDC bracelets?
I don't even think he had slept from EDC the night before. He had about 8,500 fucking bracelets on his arm. Looked like he could go anywhere in EDC land. I think if he just waved those bracelets, like a helicopter would show up and get him or something, man. Bryce is the man about town, but even doing EDC all night, he still came, he hanged out, he touched every single fucking table, posed for pictures. He is the man. And
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the last we see of him.
No.
He enjoys this front of the house entertaining people a lot.
yeah.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
We'll be seeing him somewhere soon.
Carbonara deviled eggs we did. Guanciale and black pepper and pecorino cheese shreds on that. A nice little nod to DW Bistro. If you remember, any of you who remember the beloved DW Bistro, it was known for Chef Dalton mixing kind of New Mexico, Southwestern cuisine with Jamaican cuisine. And in this case, it was a New Mexican red chili pork pizza. So, of course, Gina does brilliant pizzas there. They took this pork recipe from DW, and it would, oh, God, how good was that
It
pizza?
was so good.
It was so good. The crust.
The pizza crust was very good.
You know what was crazy about that fucking pizza? As good as the spice was, as good as that broken egg yolk was, as good as all of that was, like, you could notice the cilantro,
Oh, that's right.
right? Like,
Oh my gosh, I think we had two different dishes there that had fresh herbs that, man, they were life-changing. They made the dish really shine.
yeah, I mean,
And that one was one of them.
and this is how you can tell a chef that sources, like,
Yes.
everything, right? And Gina sources good shit. It's always great, and that was really good.
That was
I also had some eggs in purgatory. Love that dish. Very good. So now, before we get to my interview with Chef Kwame Oanwuachi, we are going to discuss dinner at Maroon. This is Maroon in the Sahara, Las Vegas. As you will hear in the interview, it is a Caribbean steakhouse. A lot of us have been saying Afro-Caribbean because that's kind of what Chef Kwame is known for, is doing various African-descended cuisines. But when I mentioned that to him in the interview, as you'll hear, he made it clear that it was a fucking Caribbean-only steakhouse. It's in that huge space that used to be Bizarre Meat, and they've done some cool shit with that space.
Yeah, it's a huge space.
But it's about half as large now because of the way they've cut it up, and
Right.
you know, you walk through a tunnel that makes me feel like I was in Limelight in New York City or something in 1991. And that tunnel wraps around the bar, although you can't quite see into it. And then you get out into the area that's going to look a little familiar for you when you get out there. You know, the Jasper grills are in the same place. The meat is hanging in the same place that it
Right.
used to. But totally different vibe. Really feels sexy. You know, I love Bizarre Meat. I don't know if you love it as much as I love it.
I don't know that anybody does, but I definitely am not as big a fan as you are.
But we're both pretty big fans.
Yes.
And the idea of somebody going into that space, it would have to be something very, very special. Because
Right.
to me, Bizarre Meat is so much more than a steakhouse. And I would say this place gave me everything I could have asked for and more.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were saying, the shape of the counter there, there's a lot of things that you'll recognize.
Yeah.
It just feels fresher, younger, hipper.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing. I feel like, and don't get me wrong, Jose, I love you, Jose Andres. You're younger than me, but, you're not as young as you were when you first came up with the Bizarre concept, right? And by the way, Bizarre Meat's still crushing it at fucking Venetian Palazzo, so you guys should go over there. But Maroon is fucking great. You just feel like you are in the presence of, I try not to use this word too much, but a young genius, like a young mad genius he's confident. He knows he's getting a young hip crowd. He knows he's going to give him something fucking great. And holy shit.
Based on that very first bite we had, which you're going to describe in a second, that very first bite, that is exactly everything you're saying. He has every reason to walk around confidently. He has every reason to be proud. His food from that first bite was amazing.
Yeah, the first thing we ordered, I think, was the curried goat agnolotti.
Yes.
Which is fucking great. It came in a green velouté with some confit pearl onions, chicken jus. But really, so you get this agnolotti come, and it's very Italian looking, and it's in a green thing, and you pop it in your mouth. Beautiful pasta, great sauce that's on it, and then the fucking jerk spices hit you, and you're like, where the fuck am I? You just immediately do a mental reset of what you're expecting for the entire evening because now island flavors are flowing in. Tiny little Jamaican places I used to eat in Brooklyn are flowing in. All of this comes into my mind on that first bite.
Yeah, and it didn't disappoint after that. Everything else was...
No, the cocoa bread was great.
Great after the cocoa bread.
The Maroon patties, which he sent out to us. We didn't end up ordering that on our own, but he sent them out, made with braised oxtail, jerk mushrooms, etc. caviar. That was so fucking good. Those were such a good dish good spin on Jamaican patties, taking it in just a totally different direction.
Yes.
I will tell you, and this will give you the first example of where the pricing can get a little crazy at this restaurant, and it's worth it, but you should know. Those were like 2 little bites of those patties, and they were $40 for the 2 bites. And they could have easily been amuse-bouches, really. So, by the way, that agnolotti, one of the best fucking deals on the menu. The pastas are great deals. That entire plate, which was a heavy plate, was $32.
Yeah, I mean, that has curried goat in it.
Yeah.
So it's not just a pasta for $32 with the goat. That's a pretty amazing deal. I agree.
The truffle mac pie was also a $32 dish, and that was like just awesome macaroni and cheese with rigatoni and black truffle mornay, some parsley panko on there as well. But man, I've never seen somebody that comes to shred extra truffle, and he just didn't want to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, they always say, tell me when to stop. You never say stop when it's truffles.
Right.
With truffles, you just wait until they don't want to give you anymore. This guy, we actually had to stop him. I mean, he was so fucking over the top, and that was really, really good. So I would say that's a good bargain, comparatively speaking, for this restaurant. Honestly, I think you could just order the curry goat agnolotti and truffle mac pie, cost you $65, and 2 people could feel like they ate about half a meal each.
Oh,
and
yeah. We'll definitely be back and sit at the bar at this place.
Yeah.
That's a good spot for that, to get all these great flavors and not have to spend a lot of money on a full meal. Just get a few bites and enjoy the vibe.
Yeah. And by the way, it's worth spending the money on a full meal.
Right.
It's just not everybody has that, right? I mean, that's all I'm saying. Toro Bujal. I've never heard of a bujal before. Did a little research. It's a spicy seafood salad, they call it, credited to Trinidad and Tobago. In this case, a lot of seafood on the bottom, almost like the top of a chiriashi kind of thing, almost like a carpaccio maybe, if you think about how all these things were laid out. And it was bluefin tuna belly, hamachi, braised octopus, some scotch bonnet. And then they served it with these really hearty saltines, and you kind of scraped it up from the bottom of the dish, the same way you would with a carpaccio, and then just put it onto these great crackers, and it was super, super, super fucking good. I like that dish a lot.
Yeah, it was a little different than most things.
It was unlike anything that I've had before,
right?
Which made it great.
Yeah.
Okay, now you want to talk about a dish that I absolutely loved, but this is where we start getting into what I ordered again for the money. And I'm saying I would order this one again for the money, but I'd have to get the stink eye. I know I'd get the stink eye from you when you saw me ordering it. It's crispy Chilean sea bass, 4 pretty small pieces fried with an escabeche seasoning, and then served over a brown stew. And that brown stew is really where all those island flavors were hidden, man. And it was so fucking good. Small portions, $58 for the dish. I'm not going to say that it's cheap, but I would still gladly spend the money. We ordered the lamb from the jerk section. It says 8-ounce rack of lamb, but what we got was 2 chops, right? So
2 little chops.
two relatively small chops. So I don't know. Maybe they gave us like a half an order or something, or maybe there was a different lamb and I ordered the wrong lamb. I'm not sure. It was pretty fucking good lamb, though.
It was really good lamb. I'm definitely the lamb connoisseur of the family, and I loved it. Like I said, it tasted like lamb. They weren't trying to hide the lamb flavor like a lot of places do. So
yeah, a lot of people like to put lamb on the menu for people that like to order lamb but don't like to eat lamb.
Right.
This was for people who like to eat lamb.
It was very good.
Also, the jerk chicken.
I love the jerk chicken.
It was really, really good. You can order a half or a whole. It's $65 for a half chicken, $120 for a whole chicken. Now, again, we are getting now into the price range.
Right.
The smoke on this was beautiful. The flavor was all the way through the meat, like right down to the bone. You could smoke it. The jerk seasoning on the skin and everything was really, really good. I would say maybe the best fucking barbecue chicken I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned that a few times. So,
but a lot more expensive than any barbecue chicken I've ever had in my life. And
this is true.
And I'm only talking about the prices because I don't want anybody to be surprised.
Right.
I mean, that's the only reason I bring up that this is a pricey restaurant, because it is so fucking good. I want you all to try it. I encourage everybody to go. If you don't think you can afford what the prices are, sit at the bar, order some dishes there. They haven't yet opened the speakeasy in the back, but there's still 2 bars in this restaurant that are already open. And yeah, it was great. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, no, hanging out in the bar while you were doing your interview was great. The bartender was super friendly. His liquor rep was there, and we all kind of,
shot the shit.
Talked some shit and had some drinks.
Made
and,
fun of me or something. I don't know.
No.
He didn't.
No, remember the bartender didn't even know who you were.
Yeah, well, that's that's to be expected. Why would they?
Well, I don't know.
So
right.
that's about it for this section. Hopefully that last one got you in the mood to hear from Chef Kwame, because that's what's coming up next, along with Gwen Walker. That's all going to be followed by a happy hour report and the news. This is food.
Oh, can I plug something real quick?
Oh, in the middle of my last walk-off? Yes, plug whatever you want. Go ahead, because you're my wife. I'm not even going to record over this. Go.
Okay, so go check out Maroon pre-Magic Mike show. Have a nice good dinner, and then go watch some really hot guys get naked.
Yeah, Sue works.
Great night out.
Sue works for Magic Mike, by the way, full disclosure. But it's a fun show
It's definitely a lot of fun.
If you want to be in the middle of 85 different bachelorette parties at the same time, if you ever wondered what that would be like.
Bring your earplugs. You'll need them.
Okay, so Sue got her plug in, and we'll do another plug at the end of the show for that as well when we do everybody else's plug. In the meantime, coming up next, we have Chef Kwame and Gwen Walker. After that, a happy hour report and the news. This is Food and Loathing. Okay, first up, we have my interview with Maroon chef Kwame Oanwuachi. So, Chef, thank you for having me here at Maroon, and welcome to Las Vegas.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to really explore what this restaurant's all about, because we don't get excited about something new in Vegas all the time. It's a town where people tend to check off boxes, and we get more and more of the same. And this, to me, I feel is culturally significant. Can we start by talking about the word maroon and why you chose it as a name for your restaurant?
Yeah, well, I mean, the word maroon in and of itself means someone that's escaped slavery and started their own community, and there are maroons around the world. This restaurant in particular, it's paying homage to the Maroons of Jamaica that escaped into the Blue Mountains and, created jerk cuisine through trying to hide their location, whether they're going to battle or escaping. So they didn't want the smoke to reveal their location, so they cooked in the ground, and rub the animals with wild spices and the cure, which became jerk. So I wanted to pay homage to that. I spent some time with them, and I just thought it was so fascinating. And when I got an opportunity to open up in Las Vegas, I thought, what a better way to pay respect to that community, but also to the Maroons everywhere, and also giving Vegas what it needs, not what it wants. I'm sure it wants a Tatiana Las Vegas. I'm sure it will do very well, but it needed something like this.
Cool. You call this an Afro-Caribbean steakhouse, and I'd really like to get into what that phrase means to you. Also, how it might relate to a phrase like the African diaspora, which we hear people speak about a lot. They're very academic terms, and I think people can get intimidated by them, but I don't know that they need to be. Could you speak about what those words mean to you?
Yeah, well, I call this a Caribbean steakhouse, for one. So just keeping it secular to that. I would define my cuisine as Afro-Caribbean, because it's Caribbean by the way of Africa. Also, my family is Nigerian and Jamaican, and also from Trinidad and Louisiana. So, all of those places, especially like the Caribbean and the African side, those things coming together creates the Afro-Caribbean cuisine in my eyes.
Since you are probably one of the more prominent chefs who speaks publicly about Afro-Caribbean cuisine and what that's all about, again, I'd like to educate people a bit on that. Would you say that the development, and first of all, there's a lot of cuisines that would fall under that or under African diaspora that we're very familiar with, right? It's not like all things that are crazy and new. I mean, from soul food to Cajun and...
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's definitely leaning more towards the African diaspora, more particularly like West African as well, with Caribbean in it as well. But like you said, it's not something that's so far-fetched. There's rice dishes in every nation. There's a braised meat dish in every nation. The beautiful thing or the interesting thing about the Caribbean and Africa is that there's, especially like the Caribbean, there were so many different cultures that came together, from Chinese to Indian, to African to even British influence and Spanish, that you'll see reflections of that all throughout the cuisine. And that's what I love about food, is it's a snapshot in history.
Yeah. That's what, actually I was invited to a Latin night at a place the other day, and I was looking around the people who came out to dance, and I was just thinking, people I know from the Caribbean, like all races seem so much more blended together. And when I travel down there, it seems like so many more influences in the foods and just a much more fluid. And I'm assuming that has a lot to do with a lot of historical facts and some not so pleasant historical facts.
Sure, absolutely has to do with that. But the saying in Jamaica is out of many come one, something like that.
Right.
And it's so many different cultures that have come together, to create what it is.
Cool. So Las Vegas, we are used to European and Asian with maybe a little Mexican once in a while. So how do you feel, actually, how did you and the powers that be decide that the time was right to bring Caribbean food to Las Vegas in a large way?
I felt that it was just what we needed here. I felt that there is a void, that there's a group of people that would really appreciate it. And I don't know, I like doing new things. Yeah. I like doing new and different things. And, bringing this concept to life, to me, is just so necessary, especially in this day and age. Right.
Do you think that making it a steakhouse might maybe give it a little cover in Las Vegas, in a city that loves its steakhouses?
I think, yes. I think it makes a lot of sense, to launch this in Las Vegas. You have some properties that have like 6 steakhouses in them, So absolutely. I think, yes, it's a city that loves steakhouses. So I definitely thought about, like, what would the city also enjoy, and they enjoy steakhouses. All right, well, let me give them a steakhouse they've never seen before.
Right. So let's talk about the menu. I haven't even looked at the menu because I wanted to talk to you before I even tried the food, before I got any idea of the food. So can we talk about the Caribbean influences that you're bringing to the steakhouse and how you merge those ideas?
Yeah. So, I'm taking some classic steakhouse dishes, some not so classic steakhouse dishes, and flipping them on its head. You know, down to our bread surface is cocoa bread with the Scotch bonnet honey butter. Wow. You know, cocoa bread is almost like a Jamaican brioche almost. And we bake it fresh and it comes out piping hot in a cast iron pan. So that's kind of thing that's like familiar, right, you know, but unfamiliar at the same time. And then you move down the menu to the crab cakes. King crab cakes, it's king crab stuffed back into the shell with a garlic, a breadcrumb crust. And then there's an étouffée aioli. I always have a nod to my Creole roots in Louisiana. Right. So like that's something that people I don't think have tried before. So it's something that's a little bit different. Yeah. What else do we have? We have our agnolotti. You know, I think every steakhouse has a pasta, you know, but ours is filled with curried goat. And there's like a green seasoning velouté that, you know, like napes over the agnolotti with a little bit of chicken jus and burnt onion. And then you have our, there's always like a crudo. So ours is a boujol. A boujol is normally like a saltfish, with like tomatoes, little mustard, Scotch bonnet, avocado, and then you eat it with crackers. But ours is hamachi and toro. That's pounded thin. We make a sun gold Scotch bonnet vinaigrette. We make an ackee puree on the side. We have warm crackers. There's avocado, braised octopus, and cilantro. So it's like really, really fun. You got a lot of different things going on. Our steakhouse sauces, our sauces that hit the table before anything, is a tamarind and mint. We have a jerk barbecue. We have a Scotch bonnet sauce, and we have a calypso chimichurri that all go well with everything. Yeah.
People have become more open to different types of cuisines, I think, because of food television and then the internet and all kinds of stuff. But you're still telling me a lot of things that I don't know that people have encountered a lot of before. I mean, do you feel that people are more ready for this than maybe they would have been 5 years ago?
I would hope so, because we're open now, not 5 years ago.
I mean, I'm just wondering, where this fits in the spectrum of what people have already encountered, because it seems like you're going to be giving them new ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I do. I think that's why we like to go out to eat, because we're experiencing something that we can't recreate at home. Yeah. And, I wouldn't want to do something that like everybody else is doing. Right. And I think that's what we do at most of my restaurants. And most restaurants that I enjoy going out to eat, it's introducing me to something, but not in a way that's like, whoa, what is going on, right? There's still a familiarity there. I'm still serving raw fish, but I'm doing, a different type of dressing on it. I'm still serving, macaroni and cheese, but mine is loaded with black truffles, and it's more like macaroni pie, how they eat in the Caribbean. Still have agnolotti, but it's filled with a different protein.
When I think about the restaurants that I like, whether they be fine French dine, I mean, the restaurants I like for special occasions, things like that, whether it be fine French, whether it be fine Japanese, I always say, I don't want the dishes on that menu to be something that I can get anywhere else on the strip, right? And it sounds like you're doing that.
It better be like fucking top tier. You know what I mean? So I wanted to introduce people to something a little bit new. But then you have our fun dishes, like our fried rice and peas that comes with a big oxtail in the center, and curry shrimp and brown stew chicken, and you can like mix it up. All of our steaks are cooked over live fire. They're marinated in jerk spices, hit with an herb butter before it goes to the table. Our jerk chicken is like a 4-day process, and it's smoked in pimento wood and guava wood, and it's like basted all the way through with red stripe and jerk seasoning. It's just I think it's a fun menu. It's a place I want to eat.
By doing something that is of the Caribbean, of, certain cultures that hasn't been done in Las Vegas before, do you think this is going to appeal differently to Black Americans who are visiting Las Vegas? And do you think it might resonate on that, or does that not even cross your mind?
I think it's a place where Black Americans, the people from Africa, Caribbean people, can celebrate their culture while celebrating a special experience. Right. And I don't think other cultures even think about that. Yeah. That they can't go and get pasta and propose. Right. They're able to eat oxtails and propose, and that's not common. And I think, yes, it's definitely going to be a beacon of light, not only to them, but I think to other chefs that want to come to Las Vegas, and I'm hoping this is a success. So this isn't the last or the only stop.
Tell me about your decision to come to the Sahara. This has a great history with this resort. My wife actually works for Magic Mike that's in this resort. They've got a lot going on. Have you had the chance to explore the resort or explore outside of the resort and even explore Las Vegas since you've been here?
Yeah, I have. I mean, the Sahara's great. I really came here because of a family hotel, and I liked the ownership and what they stood for, and I also like the size of this. That was really attractive to me. And then Las Vegas, I love Las Vegas. It's so much fun. I mean, I play a lot of golf, so I'm able to golf in the morning, which is great. Yeah. But I hate to compare Las Vegas to New York City, but in a way they're similar because there's always something to do here. Mm-hmm. So it feels like home almost. Yeah.
Well, I lived in New York City for the 10 years before I came to Vegas, and I always said they're very, very different, but there's very few places you can go when you're used to that type of action.
Exactly. And that's where I feel like it's similar in that aspect. And I enjoy it, and I really enjoy the people here. Like the people that are coming to the restaurant, they're just so happy and they're in a good mood. And
you see them before they lose money.
No, there you go. Maybe that's it.
Oh, man. Okay, so to close this out, people are going to be driving down the 15. They're going to see that Maroon sign. Maybe, hopefully they're listening to this podcast. What would you tell them in a nutshell Maroon is?
In a nutshell, Maroon for me is home for all. It's a place where everybody can come. It's a place where you're going to eat good food. You're going to listen to good music. You're going to feel seen. Hopefully it's a memory that stays with you for a long time.
So Chef Kwame's opening at the Sahara is significant for so many reasons, including the fact that he's the first black chef to put his name on a restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip. That got me thinking about how much longer the history of black food and culture in Las Vegas is. I've written about this for the Review Journal and for some other people about everything that went on in the historic West Side before and after segregation, when pretty much all black culture was taken to the historic West Side. So I recently bumped into Gwen Walker. She's the founder of the Walker African American Museum and Research Center. She's collected a lot of African American history that would otherwise have been forgotten. And, as I'm just kind of preparing for my interview with Kwame, I'm thinking about her. And I had just bumped into her at a podcasting seminar, and I said, I want to have you on my podcast soon. So I figured this would just be a good excuse to do that. So here is Gwen Walker. We're all very excited about Chef Kwame coming to the Sahara. Not only is he the first black man to have his name on a restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip, he is also bringing Afro-Caribbean food to the Las Vegas Strip. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about the fact that he's going to be introducing African and Caribbean culinary traditions to Las Vegas and to the tourists. But I know that he's not the first person to keep African food traditions alive in Las Vegas. And there was a long time when this was a very segregated city. The West Side was where the African American community had to live. They weren't opening restaurants around the valley and places like that, but you were there and you remember for part of it, for the later end of it, and your parents were there and your grandparents. You remember what people did to keep African American culinary culture and food and the recipes alive. And I'm wondering if you could tell me just shortly, what the history of that food in Vegas is.
Well, going back and looking through files and records and everything, and then also remembering what was around when we came to Las Vegas. We came here in 1962. And of course, you had very limited restaurants or food establishments on the West Side. But just going through some of the documents and things that we have in the collection, I started listing some of the restaurants, and just some of them I have some years of when they were around, and some I don't, but most people will remember a lot of them. I'll start with some of them, like our Mom's Kitchen, which was on Jackson Street. We even had a Margot Cafe in 1965 that was on Bonanza Road. Of course, we had Humdinger that was on H Street. We had the Club Savoy and Restaurant in 1966. We also had the Survivor Fish on D Street. We had Reuben Bullock's on Owens. We had the People's Choice on Owens. Right now we have Darla's Cajun Bistro on Martin Luther King. We had Sadie's Soul Food on Martin Luther King. We had Big Mama's on Bonanza. We had Reuben Bullock's on H and Owens. We have, of course, the Newtown Tavern, which was at 600 Jackson Street. We had Shay's Cafe and Lounge on Martin Luther King. Of course, we can't forget the Hamburger Heaven, which we had on East Street. We had Hicks Barbecue on Jackson. We had the Dairy King, Mr. Amy on Bonanza. We had Fish and Go on H Street, and this is back in the early 60s. Of course, we had Seven Seas Restaurant on Lake Mead and Revere. We have Grits Cafe right now, which is our number one restaurant here on the historic West Side. We have Annie's Kitchen, which is on D Street. And we just had, a lot of restaurants that kept keeping the tradition alive. Right now we have soul food restaurants all over town. We have a list of them for tourists to come and enjoy and everything. So we always have individuals that are trying to keep our tradition alive, and hopefully it's going to help bring our tourists back to the community, because everyone is really gung-ho on trying to open up more restaurants in the historic West Side. And once our Jackson Street Alliance rebuild and open up some of the businesses on Jackson Street, we hope to see some more food establishments then.
So if you can remember back, as far back as you can remember personally, what was the type of food that was being served? And also, what was the environment? Was it being served just at restaurants, or were there house parties? Were there weddings? Were there things like that? How did the community keep that culture and that food together?
It was everything going on. Not only you had your family reunions that always had your traditional, your barbecue, your soul food with your greens, collard greens, mustard greens, your candy yam, your cornbread, your smothered chicken or fried chicken, just all of our staples are. We have a lot of food trucks now that are in the business and doing different types of food throughout the community and throughout town. And then, of course, at our food festivals, we have one of our newest food trucks that's here in Vegas now. It's called B's Mississippi Cuisine, and they're stationed right here on H and Owen Street, and they're bringing some wonderful Mississippi-style soul food, and loving it, yes. Awesome. But we have, like I said, we have a lot of food trucks, and we're encouraging people that are doing things from their home to try to either get a food truck. We have Kenny Carter with Black Tacos, which is one of our food trucks that go throughout the community. We have individuals, of course, we have people that make hot tamales all the time. That's a staple that's come from the South as well. Matter of fact, we just bought some from our sister that we get them from every month as well. So we just love having all of our food culture to continue, and hopefully the new chef coming to town will tap into some of our local restaurants and soul food establishments to help promote them as well.
Could you give people sort of an image, because when I researched a story similar to this, and you helped me and some other people helped me, and what I was amazed at was how the historic West Side had kind of served as a place that people like Red Fox and people that were playing on the Strip, they would come down here to hang out at people's houses, to go to parties at little clubs at people's. Could you talk a little bit about that and how that community was here in the West Side when Black performers couldn't be on the Strip?
Right. Well, like you said, by them not being able to stay on the Strip or eat on the Strip, they had to come to the historic West Side, and they stayed at places like the Harrison House or some of the boarding houses that we had. We also have the old Christensen House that was our first house built on the West Side. But our entertainers had to come over here to eat and to sleep, and thank God, they don't have to do that now. They're all over the city, can stay anywhere and do anything. Some things are trying to take us back in time, but we're not going to let that happen.
Cool. Well, look, I just wanted to remind people, because I'm going to speak with Chef Kwame today. We're going to talk about all the excitement of him bringing Afro-Caribbean Steakhouse to the Sahara. And I just wanted to remind people that there's an African-American community and people with strong culinary traditions that have been here for a long time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We had some years ago, I think the gentleman's name that started the Black Culinary Group here, he's passed on. I think his name was T.E. Williams, if I'm remembering correctly. And that was a group of our black chefs here locally from the different hotels that would get together, and they'd have a big cook-off, and everything in the community would support them. And I'm hoping that those of us in the community that are pushing, preserving our history and our tradition, that we can get with him at some point in time and join all of our cultures together. We used to have a Caribbean restaurant on Las Vegas Boulevard for many years that we frequented. Now we have our Ethiopian community that have recently been established through the county, and we hope to do something like that in the historic West Side also, to establish it so people coming from out of town will know where our community is and where our cultural businesses and restaurants and things like that. But we're all over town now, and all types of food and culinary cuisine.
Do you have a favorite soul food restaurant before I go? A favorite Las Vegas soul food restaurant?
I would probably say Grits Cafe. I hadn't been getting out much, until I lost mother here recently, and now, I'm able with my new husband to get out more. But I'm a little bit disabled now with my hand, but for over 35 years I catered, and along with my mother, so we kept the tradition going with all of our traditional soul food and everything. So we hope to do that.
Did you once tell me that you used to cater out of the trunk of your car at the airport?
I did. Back in from 1985 to 1987, I had the first of two black-owned gift shops at McCarran Airport. And when we closed up out there, because the sky caps would come through the airport and they could smell my cooking from my back office. So when we closed up our shop, some of the guys would say, well, Gwen, why don't you bring us some food? And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that, but they loved it. So I ended up, for about a year, my daughter was about 2 years old, and we would cater soul food out the trunk of my Crown Victoria, and we'd start at the very first airline counter when you go up into McCarran, or now Harry Reid Airport, and we would stop at every station, and the sky caps would buy food. I would sell out every day. Matter of fact, they wanted us to come through 7 days a week, but we had to take Monday off in order to reshop and regroup and repack and everything. So yes, and they were used to my cooking with the soul food. And I did everything from smothered chicken and fried chicken and pork chops and oxtails and fried catfish on Fridays, coupled with greens and yams and cornbread. So a lot of us, Miss Della Cheney, she keeps the tradition going with her catering and cooking food for everyone. So it's so many of us. Her mom, the late Joyce Cheney, and her aunt, Miss Sammy Childs, they had a soul food restaurant outside of the airport in Park 2000, back when we had our airport shop there in the 80s as well. So we've had Sadie's that was across town, in Henderson at one time. I'm not sure what restaurants are in Henderson. I'd have to look on the list. But we have so many people. Right now, we have Brother Fred. He's out on Las Vegas Boulevard with a soul food place right now, and he's a experienced chef. And
where's that?
He's out on Las Vegas Boulevard. I'll get the name for you, but it's Brother Fred.
Okay.
And he's been a cook, and he has a beautiful, beautiful establishment and wonderful food. Tastes really good. We still have, like I said, we have Annie's Kitchen on D Street with our barbecue. We have the brother over here on Lexington that still does soul food. We have a tamale shop right down on Losi that does a traditional tamale. So, we're trying to patronize everyone, promote everyone, so we all can stay in business. But with everything, with the economy right now, things are a little tight, but everybody's hanging on.
Cool. Okay, so you are an amazing resource for the history of Black Las Vegas. Could you tell people how they can either learn from your museum or support your museum or go to museum, whatever they can do?
Well, right now we're working on reopening the museum, and hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, we'll be ready to reopen the doors and welcome everyone. And we accept donations. If they want to make a donation at Chase Bank, we have an account there, or they can always Cash App us, Zelle us through our phone number. Our museum number is 702-752-6043.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much again.
Coming up, a happy hour report and the news. This is Food and Loathing.
Need a restaurant recommendation? Then you need Neon Feast, the most convenient, most comprehensive, and most trustworthy collection of Las Vegas restaurant recommendations on the internet. Veteran food journalist Al Mancini, whom you might remember from, listening to this podcast, asked the city's top chefs, restaurateurs, critics, journalists, and influencers for their favorite spots in more than 100 categories. Why take the advice of an anonymous online wannabe or a paid influencer? Neon Feast will tell you where people in the industry send their family and friends for a great date night, to watch a big game, or get a taste of Old Vegas. Looking for a great steakhouse? You want a great burger? Maybe a little caviar? Need a place in Summerlin South, the Arts District, or Seven Hills? Las Vegas brings the neon. Local foodies provide the feast at neonfeast.com or the Neon Feast mobile app.
And we are back. Sue and I, excited to be hosting the show, but we could not do any show without Andrew Morgan with us. So, of course, we have Andrew for our weekly happy hour report. How are you, Andrew?
Todo bien, todo bien.
I'm kind of bummed you're not sitting with us in the studio. It would have been very fun to have the three of us, but I'm glad you're at least making an appearance for us this show. Super cool. What are you talking about, man? Where are we getting drunk this week? Where are we going to get good bite-sized bits of food for reasonable fucking prices? How do we explore Vegas on a budget?
Well, I just told you, todo bien, which is all good in Hispanic, right? So todo bien is new. Well, it's not new, but it's a new happy hour at Uncommons on the Southwest. So they've got this ridiculously cocktail forward, agave first kind of cocktail recipe menu thing going on that is absolutely freaking fantastic. I love it.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Yeah, man. So the best part about this, by the way, it changes every day for the happy hour menu, right? So every day you can try something new. Tuesdays, tequila and tacos. So you can dive into an agave forward pairing of tequila flights and a taco for $10, or a cocktail paired with a tequila sample and taco for $9. So all sorts of good stuff on there. Wednesdays, vaquero nights. Midweek, get a cowboy-inspired twist with a $5 24-ounce Topo Chico. So all sorts of good stuff going on there. And if you haven't been, the vibe is really cool. It's chilled. It's like a lush, Tulum, garden going on in there. And as the name suggests, all good.
Okay, well, I haven't been, and those who work there know why I haven't been, and they know I'm probably not going back, but I don't let my grudges spread to the whole world. So, that being said, when does this happen, man?
It is Tuesday to Sunday, 4:30 to 7:30. So it's a good 3 hours every day. Like I said, rotate, change the menu every day. So we're dropping in and checking it out.
Cool. And let's face it, Uncommons is getting better and better, man. I mean, now that we've got lunch at Amari happening with Nicole coming back, there's happy hours all throughout the place. Yep. Great sandwich shop in there, great place to go for wine sipping. I mean, it is really... It's almost like a little mini arts district out here in the burbs.
It really is, and it's like a nice outdoorsy type of vibe to it, too. There's the farmer's market, on the weekends and what have you, too. Yeah, you can't spit without hitting a happy hour. From Wino to Todo Bien to, all the other places that are in there. Names escaping me, but I enjoy it down there. It's great. So.
Okay, cool, man. So there you go, Todo Bien. Andrew will be there. I won't. They know why.
It's still worth it. Don't listen to him.
Thank you, Andrew, for that report. And now it is time for the news. NADC Burgers, not a damn chance burgers, is now open in the Fremont East District. This is a Wagyu cheeseburger brand developed by professional skateboarder Neen Williams and Michelin-starred chef Philip Franklin Lee. They had a pop-up in Resorts World last year. They have now taken a space on the corner of 6th and Carson in the Johnny Carson Hotel building, so right on that corner, around the corner from Carson Kitchen, etc. It's a 2-story space. The top floor has not yet been permitted, so we don't know what they're going to be doing up there. Menu's really fucking simple. Burgers and fries. I mean, you get your fries topped with a bunch of stuff or without. You can get your burgers for little kids or for grown-ups. That's pretty much what you have to choose from. I dropped by, I had a very tasty burger, and I spoke to Neen Williams. I'm going to play that full interview next week because I just don't want to go too crazy long this week. But here's a little bit of it. And he is saying something you do not hear people say often these days.
We are not a smash burger.
Oh.
Yeah. So we press our burgers so we could get that nice crust on our burger, but we do not overly smash and dry out the meat. Since we're using such a high quality 100% Wagyu beef, we want to keep the integrity of the Wagyu beef there, keep it juicy, keep it moist, keep it flavorful. So we basically press the burger to about the width of your finger. And then we put some onions on there. The onions basically steam into the burger, and that's kind of how we finish the other side.
Nocturno will celebrate its 1-year anniversary on Friday, May 29th. So we were just out there, right? We bumped into Karis Kawano when we were there. We were hanging out, remember?
Yeah, it was just about a month or so ago. Yeah, it was a great place. Again, great cocktails.
Yeah.
Be patient, but they're worth it.
Yes, very worth it. You're also popping your peas. Rich is going to go a little crazy based on that. So hold on, allow me to do that. There you go. Okay. No problem. Nothing you to worry about. It's where I put the microphone. And with that little bit of unprofessionalism, allow me to continue. So Nocturno is having its 1-year anniversary. It's in the Arts District. They've had a hell of a first year. It's right around Arts Square, actually. They've been hosting pop-up with bartending teams from around the globe, all sorts of accolades and awards. They've James Beard Foundation mentioned them. Star Chefs has mentioned them. Tales of the Cocktail has mentioned them. All in their first year. So they got a reason to fucking party. The celebration kicks off at 5 p.m. on Friday, May 29th, a week from when this podcast drops. Brand activations by partners including Campari, Producer, and Brown Foreman. Guests can also expect they're going to be unveiling a new mural. They're going to have a celebratory toast. There's going to be pop-up experiences, interactive moments throughout the space, flash tattoos from local artist Bree Ferguson, and that's going to include a $40 Nocturno-themed design.
Wow.
I'm not getting a Nocturno tattoo.
No.
I already have a Neon Feast tattoo on my neck. That's I think that's going to be the last branding I put on myself for a while.
I've been thinking with the playoffs happening right now with the Golden Knights that they're doing tattoos again. That very first year I almost got one.
Yeah?
I'm kind of glad I didn't.
So you don't want one now?
I definitely don't want one now. If I didn't do it then, it's not going to happen now.
Okay.
I don't think I would regret it, but, in hindsight, I think it was a good choice.
So no tattoos for me and Sue, but you can get them in Nocturno next Friday, so check it out. Lounge seating's first come, first served. Most of the activations are going to happen in the beginning of the evening, starting at 5 o'clock. Speaking of anniversaries, we're going from 1 year to 24 years. Gaetano's is celebrating their 24th anniversary on June 11th with the team from Dow Vineyards.
That's crazy.
We're going to be getting on a plane on the 11th,
We
right?
are, yes. We will not be able to go there.
Yeah, we can't go. But this is going to be a 5-course meal with wine pairings hosted by Nick Palmieri and Treasury Wine Group's Jessica Olmstead. It's $200 all inclusive. You can find more details over on the Food and Loathing event calendar. We'll actually be landing in Rome that day. I have it in my notes. I didn't know that. Yes, we land that day, so we won't be able to attend. Sounds like fun, though. If you can't be in Italy, like us, then be at Gaetano's, because they go to Italy a lot, and they know what's good there.
Their food's great there.
It is fantastic. While we're talking Henderson, Sunset Station has renovated its Gaudi bar. The ribbon cutting was yesterday as this podcast drops. There's going to be a big party on Saturday in conjunction with Dustin Lynch, who's in concert at the resort. I am hoping to speak to someone at one of those two things, which will both already have happened, kind of. But anyway, hopefully next week I'll have some interviews for you on that one. Dates have been announced for Las Vegas Restaurant Week 2026. We love this event, benefiting 3 Square. It's going to be from June 1st through June 12th. Yeah, that's a lot more than a week. Plus, they usually end up getting a few extra days out of that as well. But we like Restaurant Week, right?
Oh yeah, that'll be great. We'll be preparing for our trip.
Yeah.
We won't want to be buying a lot of groceries and cooking a lot. We'll be busy, so we'll be popping into a lot of these restaurants, I think.
Fuck yeah. Okay, so remember, there's more food news at foodandloathing.vegas, including Bob Barnes' weekly dining and entertainment report. This week, Bob has news on brunch at Hassalan, lunch specials at Amada Thai, Redhead Burgers at the Grand Canal Shops, $5 premium pours at the M, a prefix menu at P.F. Chang's, and much, much more. In the meantime, listen for me and Andrew, or look for me and Andrew over at News 3 in the CW Las Vegas, and read us at LasVegasAdvisor.com. With all of that said, I want to thank Sue for sitting in with me. Sue, first, did you have fun?
I did have fun.
Yeah.
How'd I do?
I think you did great.
Did I?
I'm happy.
All right. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun.
That's all that really matters.
Thank you.
This is where we do plugs. You want to plug your show again?
Yeah, go check out Magic Mike live after dining at Maroon.
Or Bala.
Or Bala.
Which is a great restaurant, too.
Also a very good choice.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually do meet and greets with dinners for the guests
So
at Bala.
Okay.
We haven't partnered with Maroon
Haven't
yet.
partnered with Maroon yet, but you
Not
should.
yet, but
okay.
we were with Bazaar, so we probably should be. Anyway, there's my plug.
Add naked men to whatever you're
Yes,
doing.
it's a very fun show. Thank you so much for having me, Al. I've had a really great time.
Thanks for being here. So, with Sue Mancini in the house, Rich Johnson on the back end, and on behalf of Gemini Stevens, I want to thank all of our guests, Neen Williams, Gwen Walker, and Chef Kwame Oanwuachi, for sharing their time. Thank you for listening, and remember,
Always stay hungry.